Good morning. Thank you all for joining our webinar today. We are thrilled to have such a great crowd for such an important topic that we have. I think you all probably know by now that both the governor and the legislature have agreed on something, and they agree that 2023 should be the North Carolina Year of the Trail. So I'm thrilled that we have such a great panel today. We have with us Palmer McIntyre, who has taken on the role of spearheading this entire initiative and has done a great job in a very short amount of time with limited funds. So I think you're going to be very impressed by what you see that they have put together. And then we also have Catherine Swain and Katie Smith from Natural and Cultural Resources, and they're going to talk a little bit about what their department is doing to support the Year of the Trail. So I think it's going to be great information for all of us to have. And we are recording this, so you will be able to access it later again if you'd like. But in the meantime, let's get started. I'm going to turn it over to Palmer.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. We're super excited to bring you all the exciting news about North Carolina Year of the Trail. I have a presentation that I'll be sharing with you. So I will start my slides off here. And the first thing I do want to do, though, we're going to be talking about North Carolina Year of the Trail and the Great Trail State Coalition, which is the official host organization for North Carolina Year of the Trail. And I just want to say that we are the first state to do this in the way that we're doing it. We're pioneers for this effort. And some states have designated Years of the Trail, but they've been very small, legislative focused events. So we are doing this in a big way, hoping to engage everyone across the state. The first thing I do want to do, though, is share a video with you. And I'm going to put that in the chat. And our instructions are to click on this link. So I won't show the actual video because the time delay with Zoom. So now there is a link in your chat. If everyone could just take a few minutes, click on the link and watch this, and then we'll come back and continue the presentation. Thank you.
Palmer, could you actually redo the link and send to everyone? I believe it just went to the panelists. Thank you. Sorry about that technical difficulty, everyone. You should now have the link there in the chat. And hopefully you can take a look at the video, and Palmer will be right back to talk more about it.
I'll just wait another 30 seconds to let everyone tune in. Again, I hope everyone had a chance to see that video. That is our brand video, and it is meant to inspire us and really get excited about the vast trail resources we have in our state. We're so fortunate. So that is available. We have a YouTube channel for Great Trails NC. You can find that video there, as well as another video that is more of an educational video about what is Year of the Trail. So we do encourage you to use these two video resources as much as you like. If they're ready and available now at our YouTube channel, Great Trails NC. So I'll continue the presentation. Saw the video, and just a word about the host, the Great Trails State Coalition. I just wanted y'all all to be aware of the coalition and what it is. And it is a broad, diverse group of many different members. So we have nonprofit members, local government members, industry partners, and we're all working together to bring sustained support for trails in North Carolina, sustained state support. And by the word trail, we're referring to all trail types: hike, bike, walk, run, paddle, ride. So these are muscle-powered trails, all 100 counties, so it is statewide, and we work very closely with our state agency partners. And why trails? Well, you all know this, but trails are free to users. They provide improved health and well-being and safety from vehicular traffic, and also protect our valuable natural resources at the same time, since trails are often aligned within our natural areas. But what is beneficial for communities is the positive economic impact that trails can have, particularly in rural communities where outdoor recreation is the backbone of the economy. And this is a growing economy. It stands at $28 billion, but it continues to grow as North Carolina becomes better known for its natural resources and recreation assets. And so what is Year of the Trail really all about? Well, it is really about celebrating our diverse trail collections, getting people out on trails, but also having us recognize our role as champions of these trails and to build advocacy within our communities across the state for our trails. Again, this is reaching statewide, all 100 counties, so everyone can benefit from trails. So the goals of the campaign, and this is a year-long campaign, we want to inspire people of all ages, abilities, and backgrounds to try trails. We want to demonstrate the importance of trails to elected officials. So this is where that economic impact is so important, and just the benefit for residents of communities. We want to boost outdoor recreation tourism across the state, and we want to promote safe and accessible use of trails, aligning with outdoor NC principles. And then a very important part is just advance diversity and inclusion on trails, because trails are for all. So we're grounded in values. We have worked hard developing all this throughout the year, but we do participation. We want everyone to get out and try trails. So find your place. There's a trail for each one of us. Trails are very inclusive. They're an asset that's available to everyone to use. There should be no barrier to use for people to get out on trails. Stewardship, again, going back to those outdoor NC principles, we need to take care of our assets. And connectivity, not only connecting places, but connecting people, because trails can be a place of gathering. And then collaboration. This is truly a collaborative project. It is a state designation, but really the whole campaign is coming from the ground up, involving everyone. So the campaign itself, this is what it looks like. The focus of it, the backbone of it really is the website and our social media handles. So we already have those developed. I'll give you those resources shortly. And then embedded in the website is a local toolkit for communities like yours to find all kinds of information about how to engage with Year the Trail and how to implement Year the Trail activities and messages at the local level. One of the big goals of the campaign is for there to be Year of the Trail events in all 100 counties. We want everyone to hear about it. We are investing in some advertising at the state level. So billboards are going up hopefully next week or the week after, and we'll have select areas across the state with some outdoor advertising information. We'll be on the radio, and you'll see ads in print media as well. We have launched a call for artists program. We had 32 entries. We selected 5 fabulous artists who are developing an image each that we can use throughout the campaign. And this images might be used on merchandise, we'll use them on posters, but maybe there'll be an image that would make a great mural in your community. So we can't wait to show you what the assets we get through our Call for Artists program, engaging that whole community. There will be gear and merchandise available on the website with Year of the Trail and the Great Trail State. We're working with PBS-NC, and we'll have a 30-minute documentary called 10 to Try that features 10 trails across the state. That should be available next summer, but in the meantime, they're going to start featuring short trail profiles and other stories in their existing programming, such as North Carolina Weekend and other shows. We've been speaking at as many conferences as we can this summer and fall to get the word out, and we've gotten lots of great response. We're building into this campaign a process for measuring and reporting impact, and we'll need your help in that part of it. We're working with some partners over at NC State University to bring that program up. So the focus of this webinar really is to dig into the toolkit, since that is the primary asset that is being made available to all of you through our website. And what is the purpose of this toolkit? Well, it really is, it's a toolkit. It's tended to have lots of different things that you can pick and choose what you need in your community to really plan for and celebrate and advocate for trails at the local level. So where is the toolkit? It's on our website. GreatTrailsNC.com is the Year of the Trail website, and you can see a screenshot on this slide. So the arrow is drawing you right to the toolkit. There are different buttons across the top, and the toolkit is one of the largest buttons, and it will include a downloadable PDF that's the whole toolkit, and then also individual resources. And then the toolkit will also be on scroll as well, so you don't have to download it. It's probably 50 some pages. So it's available digitally and as a download. And I will say, we're making some final tweaks to it, including the website. Our official launch date is next week. So you'll see some things shift and change between now and then. We're kind of in our family and friends phase with this right now, but we didn't want to wait a month longer to get this information out to you, because I know communities are already planning for next year. And so we want to make sure you have as many resources in your hands as possible to go ahead and start thinking about this. So I'm going to walk through the different sections of the toolkit. And one of the primary things that we encourage with the toolkit is to have each community identify a group of people that can become your Year of the Trail Planning Committee. And this group might consist of tourism folks, Parks and Rec, an elected leader, maybe some citizen leaders, maybe someone from the health department or some health group. So you want it to be a broad-based group to help think about how to bring Year of the Trail alive in your community. So this first section really is, what is Year of the Trail all about? So it's some of the content from the video you just saw, like what is the mission, the purpose, the vision, the values, the goals. And then what about trails in North Carolina? What's some history? So we're going to kind of ground this in a little bit of history, and then really just talk about how to kick it off. And so at the bottom of these slides, you'll see what's called a DMO call to action. So this is something that we hope you all can really think about as we go through this presentation. But for this first section really is for you all to understand what Year of the Trail is and how to start thinking about your community can participate. So in this first section, there's a lot of downloadable resources. Notably all the logo assets. So we have created those and are sharing those for you all to use as you wish. For the logos, there's word marks, there's badges like you see on this page, there's icons like the little North Carolina with the different trails through it. We have a sticker for each county, so you can even create stickers for your county. You can take these assets and use them however you want, as long as you follow the brand use guidebook that is connected to the logos and assets. There'll be a basic fact sheet about the Year of the Trail and a slide deck with templates so you can make presentations in your community to your local leaders about what Year of the Trail is. And so then we do talk a little bit about how to form your advisory committee and a goal setting template so you can plan at the local level, and a press release template. So we're trying to make this really easy for you, and you can pick the lowest hanging fruit and make it a success. So in section 2, Part of the goal of the coalition in getting the Year of the Trail passed with legislation is that we want to brand North Carolina as the Great Trail State, because truly we are. And so this next section really is what about North Carolina that makes it the Great Trail State. So we've developed our anthem. The anthem was the words that you heard with that video. It is the inspirational background to what trails are and what they mean to North Carolina. So we encourage you to use those words in any way you wish. It's meant to be a tool for you all. But then there's some real basic tools, like what makes a good trail in the first place. So there's some education on that, because as DMOs, you're not really in the business of making the trails, you're in the business of marketing the trails, but you also want to make sure that your trails are at a point where they can be marketed and can deliver a positive visitor experience for tourists and a great experience for your local residents as well. So in this chapter, we talk about the benefits of trails. We talk about barriers to diversity of trails, so we can make intentional efforts at the local level on how to be more inclusive in our outreach and programming on trails. And one of the specific recommendations is we ask your committee to think about conducting a trail analysis, just saying, what trails do we have in our community? Because you may not know them all. So what do we have and what kind of shape they're in and how should they be marketed? Because trails, there are many different kinds of trails. Some trails are easy and some trails are hard. So you want to make sure all that information is available to people who are looking for that kind of information. And we talk about the value of trail volunteers and the importance of that to help keep those resources in good shape for the future. So the DMO call to action in this section is really familiarizing yourself and your community with the trails you have locally and what their benefits are, and making sure you understand all the resources. So the downloadable assets in this section is, the main thing is this trail asset analysis worksheet. So it's just a suggestion for you to think about how to evaluate the trails you have in your community. So section 3 is a section on trail user guides. So this is kind of just some background information on how to invite people to trails. If people are new to trails, what kind of information should be communicated about that? How people can find trails. I mean, we do not have a one-stop shop in North Carolina where people can find all of the trails in the state in one place. So we've traditionally gone to state parks websites or U.S. Forest Service website, or perhaps a local community website to find trails. We are recommending that people go to All Trails to find information on mountain biking and hiking and walking trails. That's a pretty good resource for that. But just, how do people find a trail? Because that's the first thing they want to ask. But then how to set people up for a positive and safe trail experience. So there's a lot of information about that. And then how to engage with families on trails, because some people want to take small children. So it's a lot of tips in this section for trail users. And then inviting someone new to trails. Again, this is trying to break down the barriers to people who have not traditionally used trails, and basic trail etiquette. So you'd be surprised that's information that really needs to get out there. So I think we're all responsible as we invite more people to use trails, or it's our responsibility to make sure that the information we're providing them is good information to help them have a positive experience and help people feel safe and prepared. So in this section, there is a trail day planning checklist. So these are kind of things you can share out in your communities. And then, of course, the outdoor NC principles of how to be safe and responsible on trails and make sure our resources are being protected. So section 4 is the big section. This is how to plan a trail event in your community, and it has lots of great information about some ideas. This is full of ideas meant to get your brain starting to think and churn and come up with creative ways to celebrate trails in your community. It can be as easy as you want. These can be things you already do that you just rebrand or co-brand as a Year of the Trail event, or they can be simple things like even a trail cleanup or a meetup on a trail. That can be a Year of the Trail event. But we do have a whole list of different holidays that can have a trail aspect to them. And we also have monthly trail themes. I'll share those with you in a few minutes. And then just thinking about, maybe you want to have an event where people come together to think about the future of trails in your community. What do people dream about in terms of trails? And then just some nuts and bolts about how to plan events. And you all do this probably all the time. So this may not be new information, but you can pick and choose what you want to use in the chapter. And then just how to promote your event and how to measure success. And we would like your participation in the measuring success part. So we will ask all of you to fill out an evaluation form after your year of the trail events to report back to us so that we can know what the impact has been. So we can go back to the General Assembly and say, this year of the trail has been such and such, has had this level of impact across the state. So your call to action in this section is really scheduling and planning year of the trail events in your community. It can be more than one, or if one is enough, that's fine too. We have a lot of templates in this section that's downloadable. There's letterhead you could use, event planning template. There's a certificate for volunteers if you want to have a fun event where you recognize volunteers, because some communities have a ton of volunteers that help out on their trails. There's different banner designs, also a template for postcards or a flyer or a clean graffiti stencil that you can use on a local greenway. And then there's a flag banner and a yard sign thing. So these are all things that we hope that you all will create locally using the templates that we provide you from the state level. Section 5, this is community engagement strategies, how to engage your local community in trails. And this is a lot of information about just messaging. So we have a lot of tips and suggestions in this chapter on how to create this strategy, what the messages can be, what are some suggested communications channels. So it's basically about stories, your local stories, how to share the impact of your local trails on your community. We want this to be very local, because I will say that one of our goals at the coalition, as I said early in this presentation, is to secure sustained state support for trails. And North Carolina has not provided support for general trails across the state. And so we would like to see the state invest in trails, much like many of our peer states are doing. And so we need to build in this advocacy piece. And this is where the communication will make a big difference. We encourage you to invite your local leaders, elected leaders, your county commissioners, your legislative members to your events so that they can connect with trails and see the great impact that trails have in your community. And then also engage with your local media, again, with stories. So there's lots of different ways to connect and share the stories of trails in your community. So our downloadable assets for this section, we have some social media content guides, we have some Facebook and Instagram post templates, and we have some graphics and postcards to share with you there. So we do have our Year of the Trail social media handles. It's at Great Trails NC on Instagram and Facebook, and we'll also have TikTok. And like I said already, we have YouTube. And we would love for you to share those, and we'll co-share. So there will be a lot of social media sharing, but invite you to create your own posts as well. And then section 6. So Year of the Trail, it's a year, but we're in the long game. We want to continue to promote North Carolina as the Great Trail State, and that will be an evergreen brand that we can stand behind and continue to draw people to North Carolina to experience our natural beauty. So part of this is the work of the Great Trail State Coalition. So in this section, there's some information about becoming a part of the coalition. We invite you to join the coalition, to add your voice to the voice of many, to advocate for the importance of sustained state support for trails. And then also just setting up a more sustainable trails advisory committee in your community. Many counties are starting to do this, and it's a great way for different communities to communicate with each other that are near each other, and just to plan for the long term. You might want to even think about a comprehensive trails and greenways plan for your county even. So these are things that can help us move forward to a more connected and sustainable trail network that really adds value to your community. and continue to build support from stakeholders and underrepresented trail users. And increase volunteers for maintenance. That's going to be a big thing as we add more trails. It'll be very important to continue to make sure we steward those trails, and volunteers will be a big part of that. And then an easy thing you can do here is sign a local resolution for trail support. So again, there's a lot of low-hanging fruit things you can do. And also consider working towards a regional trails organization. We have several in North Carolina. There's the Carolina Thread Trail down in the Mecklenburg area. There's the Piedmont Legacy Trails in my area with Piedmont Lane Conservancy. And, we're starting to communicate at a regional level about trails, and it's been very, very helpful. And we encourage this to happen all across the state. So we do have a few downloadable things here, and one of specific example is a proclamation for Year of the Trail. That is an easy thing you can do right off the bat, is to have your community sign a proclamation that's very similar to the one that the governor will be signing sometime before the year starts. So the next steps. So what's going to happen first? Well, here we are in November. We've only got a month and a half away. We do have an official launch. This will be at the Carolina Thread Trail Forum on December 1st in Mooresville. And it's more like it's at a trails conference. And so it will be an official launch with Secretary Wilson will be coming. We'll have some speakers. Representative Dean Arp from Union County will speak, and a county commissioner will speak, and we'll have music and food. So it's going to be a really fun way to kick off the year in Mooresville. Invite anyone who would like to come to that to please join us in Mooresville on December 1st at the end of the Carolina Thread Trail Forum. But then one way you can engage, everyone can engage, is the first day outdoors. So this is our first big campaign for Year of the Trail. We want to get everyone out on January 1st. Start the year with good trail intentions. North Carolina State Parks has their first day hikes program. So you can go to any state park and have a first day hike. Or if you're not near a state park, or you can find any kind of trail experience on January 1st. So we encourage you to use our different social media templates for the first day outdoors. We'll be sharing those out, and you can adopt those. But set up a meetup on January 1st in your community, that kind of thing. It can be very easy, but that is an easy way to start, and that's our first step. But as I promised, we do have these themes each month, and this can help keep your information locally fresh. So every month you can come up with some new twists on these different themes. So for instance, February, make a date with a trail. So you can sort of play on that with Valentine's Day. Invite someone new to a trail or volunteer on a trail. So do things differently with each month with your local creative messaging, because I know you all have lots of super creative ideas about how to deliver messages about your community and your assets in your community. So here are our website and for greattrailsnc.com, that is the Year of the Trail website. The coalition website is greattrailsstatecoalition.org. Our general email address is info@greattrailsnc.com. And as I said, you can look for us on these different social media handles. We already have posts going up on Instagram and Facebook. And so we are just excited to celebrate with you all, celebrate all kinds of trails all across the state. We are deeply grateful for Visit NC's partnership and Outdoor NC's partnership in this campaign. They've been a sponsor for it. And I'd also like to shout out our other sponsors. NC State Parks and the Department of Natural and Cultural Resources are also significant partners, as is State Employees Credit Union. They're sponsoring our whole PBS NC programming. And then we also have North Carolina Electric Cooperatives and Duke Energy as other corporate sponsors. So we're deeply grateful to our sponsors, and we'll continue to shape and evolve the campaign as it goes. That is the end of my presentation. And again, I just wanted to reiterate that we will be have our final assets available next week, but you can go ahead and take a sneak peek at the website, greattrailsnc.com. and check out the toolkit there. You can start looking at different things. So it is 10:30. I'm finished my part. I'd like to pass it over to Catherine Swain with the Department of Natural and Cultural Resources, and she can share a little bit about what they're doing.
Palmer, thank you. Great job. And we're so excited about the Year of the Trail. And we will be promoting Year of the Trail throughout our agency in 2023 to help with this effort. We have had a campaign called PATH, Parks and Trails for Health, which we will be co-branding for Year of the Trail. And In addition, we will be at the event December 1st in Mooresville, but we will also be promoting through our state parks, kind of the first day hikes as part of the Get Outdoors on the first day. We have a proclamation from the governor that will come out, and we're also branding the state parks 100-mile challenge with Year of the Trail, as well as having a series of kind of trail day events across the state at many of our sites, whether it's a state park or a historic site or a museum, to help invite some new folks to join a trail and participate and do something outside, as Palmer mentioned. We will be helping as a partner as much as possible throughout the year to market on our various platforms through our agency, and helping to lift up and share collaboratively a lot of our content. Similarly, in the same vein as Palmer mentioned around safe use of trails, leave no trace principles, and just really highlighting the variety of activities and outdoor recreation you can do across the state. In some of our rural communities where there may be a cultural trail, we may try to tie those in as well. And we're very excited to support this initiative. And I wanted to pass it over to my colleague, Katie Smith, to talk a little bit kind of about our digital strategy and engagement plan around Year of the Trail. Katie?
Yes. So like Catherine mentioned, we saw, as you can imagine, an exponential increase in park visitation during the pandemic. And we realized as part of this is so many people reaching out to us saying, this is what got me through, this changed my lifestyle. And so we really wanted to take the Parks and Trails for Health and capitalize on just getting people outdoors in whatever way that's best for them. So currently North Carolina is ranked 35th in the country in health status. So we know there are some areas of improvement there. And so part of this is we are going to really be sharing content, not only the fabulous content that Palmer and their folks have put together for the Year of the Trail, but also talking about generally what does getting outdoors do for you as far as your mental health, how does it help you with other things. So we're going to be putting some monthly content together. This is going to be seasonal, so that kind of fits wherever is needed. And that's also going to include the state trails as well. So some of you might be familiar with the Mountains to Sea Trail or the Flora Fauna Trail. And so we're going to kind of be promoting, you know, these spaces and trails regionally in those areas. And like Catherine mentioned, I saw a question about the cultural thing, and a lot of our sites actually, like Fort Dobbs, James Polk birthplace, Bennetville, actually have trails and greenways as part of their site. So we're going to be really kind of fusing the culture and the trails as well as part of our Year of the Trail content. The other thing that we're going to be doing is putting together, we have teamed up with Everwonder. We're going to have what's called a Wonder Guide. So we're going to be putting out kind of like itineraries and spotlight pieces about getting outdoors and trails across the state. And so we're definitely we're always looking to spotlight and share these stories across our channel. So that's great. You know, we have a share your story section on the Path part of our website at pathnc.com. So if you have something in your community that you would like us to spotlight or share, we would love to do that. Additionally, as part of Path, we launched our Bark Ranger program. And that's to really encourage people not only to leave no trace, but to safely take your pets outdoors. And we actually have a lot of different types of pets that visit our state parks, from cats to goats, as long as they're leashed. And so we have our Bark Ranger program, which is a user-generated content program. So we spotlight a Bark Ranger of the week every week on Instagram and across our social channels. So we have a lot planned. So if you follow at NC Culture, you're going to see a lot of the different information we'll be sending out. And then the other thing we're going to be spotlighting is diversity and inclusion. So we partnered with Black Folks Camp 2, and so we're going to be putting out a video series spotlighting different stories and safety and educational materials at many of our state parks across the state. So we're very excited about this initiative, and I think there's going to be so much new information that people are going to learn about, but also just encouraging people to get outdoors. Additionally, we will be if you're not familiar with the 100-mile challenge, that will also be back. So people will be able to go to the state parks 100-mile challenge website, log their miles, and earn different prizes. So we have a lot happening. Somebody asked about a newsletter. We do put out a path newsletter monthly, and we'll make sure that everybody gets the sign up login or sign up form for that. So we send out a monthly newsletter that's spotlighting events across the state that are parks and trails health related, along with safety messaging, and then spotlighted stories that we have. So lots of great information in that monthly newsletter.
Thank you. And I'll add one thing that I should have led with, but I want to just thank Wally Wazen and the North Carolina Welcome Centers. We will be featuring a series of kind of Year of the Trail videos in all of the North Carolina Welcome Centers to really highlight what people can do in that area regionally, and very grateful for that opportunity. Thank you.
I'd like to respond to Leslie's question about a newsletter. I know Katie just mentioned a newsletter, but we will have a monthly newsletter coming out from the Year of the Trail campaign, and it will be available on our website. We'll also send it out to as many different groups as we can. So that will have some specific ideas and monthly themes and little tips and so forth, news highlights.
And Palmer, how can they sign up for that?
So once we relaunch our website on Tuesday, when the final website is ready, there will be a newsletter sign up list. And also we could partner, Heidi, with you and your communications as well through your members.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So much great information. I think everyone who, obviously everyone on the panel, but everyone who's tuned into this too, we're passionate about our outdoor spaces. And we want to make sure that we can invite people for generations to come and enjoy these. So I love this celebration that we're going to do for a year. I just think that you all three of you, and what you do is so important and so good. And now we'll do some Q&A. So we do have quite a few questions coming in. You've answered, Leslie. So then we have one from Sarah. Can you give any more details on the time and exact location in Mooresville for the first?
Yes, there is a website, and I put it in the chat, but I think it just went to the hosts and panelists. So maybe
yes.
Y'all can copy and paste that into the general chat. So there's carolinathreadtrail.org, and there is information about it's an all-day conference, but then the launch party will start at the end of the conference at 3:15 to 4:30. And like I said, we'll have some great speakers, including Representative Dean Arp and Secretary Wilson, and some music and food to kick things off. And that is a free event. The kickoff is a free event, but there's a fee for the conference if you choose to be there all day.
Yes. If you go to carolinathreadtrail.org, you will find a link on how you can help. And just follow that link and you should get there. Let's see. Next one is Year of the Trail solely focused on hiking, biking, outdoor trails, or does it include history, culture, food type trails as well?
That's a great question. And the Great Trails State Coalition is focused on muscle-powered trails, such as hiking, biking, outdoor trails. But local communities are welcome to interpret trails however they like. But the coalition itself and the information we're putting out is focused on those types of trails.
Yeah, I think that, and that's where we're trying to help, is to where there are cultural trails or historical sites in communities that connect with a natural trail. If we can make that connection for folks and give them even more of a reason to visit some of our communities and stay overnight and do some things in those communities, that would be a great outcome of this. And I will say that, you know, I think that anybody on this call who participates in a Year of the Trail event or activity, there's a lot of benefit, because I think between kind of our collective, lots of promotion will be going on. We have a big network and can really provide, I think, a lot of marketing and communications support for your community around Year of the Trail. So I think there's a lot of benefit to being involved, given the statewide focus and priority for this coming year.
Yeah, and we're going to have quite a bit of promotional materials we'll be passing out as part of PATH. So if you do have a trail event day and you would like some goodies to give away, definitely reach out to us so we can make sure to help provide those to kind of promote PATH. And then I think Palmer can speak more to Year of the Trail, but I think all of these resources are really great to help get that message out for what trails look like for you.
Great. Another question we have is there a calendar of events for Year of the Trail? And if so, how can we share our local trail event to be included in that calendar?
Thank you for that question. I meant to mention that. So on our website at Great Trails NC, there is an event tab, and that event tab will list events, and there will be a way for local communities to upload their events onto our calendar, so your event can be featured at the statewide level. So that again will be, that functionality will be available starting next week, and we know some events are already being planned. So really want to fill that calendar up with a lot of fun different things.
Great.
And I will say the website, it really is meant, the audience for this website is not only you all as DMOs and to use it as a tool, but it's meant for the general public to find events and to find your trails and to find your stories. So it really is, it's a multiple audiences. So the regular folks may not go to the toolkit section, but they're going to go to the event section to find trail events. So that's why it'd be great for y'all to upload all that.
Great. Another question, are there any resources, particularly financial ones, available for creating new trails as part of this year-long celebration?
So one of our goals is to get sustained state support for trails. So we are going to the General Assembly in the long session, which starts in January and goes through June, with a big ask for funding for trails. And so that is why your participation in Year of the Trail is so important. That's going to show how important these trails are to communities. And we've collected information on trail projects in different communities across the state, so we can show our elected leaders that there are great projects all across the state that are ready for investment. If you make this investment, we'll be good stewards of this, and we will increase the quality of life in North Carolina with benefits for years to come. So that is the case we're making to our elected leaders, and that is very much a part of the Year of the Trail campaign. So we don't have those resources today for you, but we're hoping to have resources after the long session.
Yeah, and I think that is really key, Palmer. We've got to get in front of our local leaders and our state leaders with the importance of this, and make sure that they understand that when it comes to budget time. Yeah. There's a question, will there be editable templates for marketing materials like trails to highlight in our areas, for example, on a local level, or will we need to use the toolkit assets to piece it together?
So we will have some things you can use. You may want to tailor it. As I mentioned, we do have some like social media templates. We have a press release template, but I'm sure you will want to tailor it a little bit. So you might have to do a little bit of work, but we're trying to make it as easy as possible.
Great. Are there any other questions? I think I've gotten all the questions. If not, please feel free to type it in the chat or in the Q&A or raise your hand. But I think that you may have overwhelmed them, Palmer. There was so much in your toolkit. I mean, everybody's putting out a toolkit now, right? Everybody's putting out a toolkit, but I have to say yours is so comprehensive. It's a wonderful asset, and I think it's going to be downloaded and used quite a bit. So really looking forward to it.
It's not just for this year too. I mean, we're hoping this toolkit can live on, and it can continue to be a resource for your communities as you continue to promote your trails. So that was the goal of it. And like I said, we're the first state to do this, so it's really exciting. And I'm sure there are things we're going to need to tweak. So if you have comments and suggestions as you work through the toolkit, please let us know. Because like I said, we have not had a recipe book for this. It's been creating it from the ground up, and we've had an amazing team of people helping on this project. And it's been a lot of fun, but I'm sure there's things we're learning every day.
Yes, yes. And if any of you need more information or have any questions or anything, I'm happy to pass along contact information for all three of our panelists today. So just shoot me an email and I'll be happy to get you what you need. But if there don't seem to be any other questions, so I'd love to thank you all so much for your time today. Really great information. And I'm sure that we'll probably have you back on at some point during the year to see where we're coming from now. But before we leave, I just want to tee up the next webinar in our series. It will be December 8th, same time, 10 a.m. And it is going to be the fall results of the portrait of the American traveler. Marlise and her team will be giving some information about what we found out in those surveys. So we thank you all so much for your time today. Appreciate it. Hope you have a great rest of your week, and stay safe and have a great day.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.